another breakfast casseroles. I'm going to be making 3 different breakfast casseroles that are great for cold days. And this one is going to be a ham and cheese potato bake. And I'm following the recipe for the most part. I'm swapping out mozzarella for Parmesan though, because Parmesan and I don't really get along. So I'm going to start by adding some hash browns into a bowl. Now we're of course using frozen hash browns. And anyways, welcome back. I'm Carrie. This is Keep It Simple DIY. I'm going to use 1 package of this diced ham, and you already know we are cutting this recipe in half because otherwise our little family of 2 has to eat the same thing over and over and over again. And this is going to come together so quickly. I already got the oven preheating to 400 degrees, called for 375, but I'm pretty sure our oven runs cold. I'm adding some salt and pepper. This was not in the recipe, but how can you have potatoes without adding salt and pepper? We're also going to add some cheese. So it called for some cheddar cheese, which I've got some right here. And then I'm adding mozzarella in place of the Parmesan. We are so close to this being pulled together. It's crazy how quick it is. I'm still working on figuring out what recipes I want to make for these casseroles, but this one caught my eye. And you guys, I did something I normally do not do, but I've done twice now this month. I bought some cream of soup. I bought cream of potato. That's what this recipe called for. And I just figured, let's try it out. Do it the way that they said because it's quick and easy, but normally I make my own. So this is the second time. The first time was in the Thanksgiving video when I made the green bean casserole, which I feel like that was just necessary, right? Because green bean casserole, you can't stray from that recipe. But also, if you haven't seen that video, definitely go check it out. It's a good one, all the Thanksgiving meals. And I'm going to add in about 1 cup of sour cream. I'm doing this one first because then the spatula is not going to be dirty sticking it into the sour cream. That's probably why I don't typically buy it. I thought I was going to have to like really scrape it all out, but looks very unappetizing. All right, we need to mix this all together until it's decently combined. Oops. All right, I'd say that we're there. Let's get this casserole dish greased up. And this needs to bake, it said, for 1 hour. Holy heavy. Okay. Press it down in there. And it says uncovered as well, so uncovered we shall do. Into the oven it goes. Here's how this is looking. I just took it out of the oven. This did cook for about 10 minutes longer than it said, and then I did broil it for a good 5 minutes as well to get a little bit of a color up here. Now, I do have my oven set to 400 instead of 375, so taking a little bit longer and having the oven set higher makes me wonder if my oven really is low, but this looks delicious, so let's give it a try. All right, this is still pretty hot, so I'm going to use a glove so I don't burn myself, but I'm going to get out a little bit. Good news is it didn't stick. I'm wondering if it's all cooked all the way. It was definitely boiling, but I'm kind of thinking there's a chance this might just be a big soggy mess. All right, let's see. Oh, the flavor on that is delicious. It's not crispy at all, which I feel like it's lacking. If it was a little bit crispy, maybe if I get an edge piece, it'll be crispy. Let's see. The edge piece was a little bit crispy. Flavor is fantastic. It doesn't taste soggy. It's just soft potatoes, and I was kind of hoping for a little bit more of crunchy potatoes. Overall, I would probably make this again though because it's that good. I might even cut back on the amount of ingredients that are wet that I put into it, so that way we get a little bit more of a crisp. All right, on to the next. Another day, another casserole. I'm going to get this sprayed so that we don't have any sticking. And this I am, of course, deviating completely from a recipe that I found online. I found a recipe that had little smokies wrapped up in crescent rolls and then an egg mixture over the top. And I'm like, that looks delicious, but I think I'm gonna use these breakfast sausages because little smokies have such like a tough outer shell that sometimes they don't really agree with me. So I figured let's use these sausages instead, and I think that'll be delicious. And then, you know, I can't only change the recipe that way. I think I'm gonna add onion jam to the recipe as well. Oops. Oh, I got 2 shells in there. Got it. And I'm doing the eggs first, even though it goes last, because I don't want them to roll off of the counter. So I figured that'll work out well to do it now. And yes, I did buy these things. I haven't had these things in probably 10 years maybe. Well, let's see. The last time I think I wasn't even at my house. I think it was when we went on a trip to Estes Park. I'm trying to remember like when even was that. Okay, so I'm just adding some milk that was previously frozen into there. And a little bit of salt and pepper, of course. And then this is ready for us as soon as we mix it. Also, if you guys haven't ground your own pepper, that's what this is. It has such a like aromatic experience to it instead of a sneezy one. Let's see here. Grab us a fork, mix this up. I do have the oven preheating to 400. It called for 375, but I think the oven, I mean, you guys know, I think the oven is colder than it should be. I did just buy a thermometer to check, so that'll be here eventually. It's Amazon. I don't think it was a quick Amazon though. I think it was a slow Amazon, so eventually works just fine for me. All right, let's get these open. My least favorite part, but I think I need, oh, I already got it out. This, because I am going to use this. Okay, so theoretically, it shouldn't open on us. We should be able to just peel it and then tap it with a spoon. Okay. That was the most confidently I've ever done that before. Spoon here. And pop. Got it. Yeah, okay. So like we're pros, even though I never do this. Now the reason that I bought these crescent rolls instead of making my own is because I've never made them before. And so I didn't want to screw it up, so I figured let's just buy it. Now what I'm wondering is, I remember these having this weird texture on like the roof of your mouth, like a weird butter film. I wonder if that's still the case. I always hated that. So we'll see. I'm going to separate these, and actually I think I'm going to roll this half back up and just work with like half at a time. That way there's room. And usually I would just do this on the counter, but I didn't super clean the counter. So, all right. Set this over to the side. Grab this. Hey, look, that spoon's gonna work out really well for us. Okay, this is the onion jam that didn't, what is the word for that? It didn't fit in the canner. So we're gonna use it up today, hopefully all the way. And I'm just going to put it on the inside of the crescent roll, and what we're gonna do is put a little dollop of Dijon as well. I think those flavors will go really well together. Then we'll add a sausage. So let's see. I had to open up a new Dijon. Oops, that might have been again a lot. Well, that's okay. That's okay. Let's get this open. And I did thaw these overnight in the fridge. I know normally you cook with them from frozen, but I thought it'd be better to have them thawed. So there we go, we're preheated. These are gonna make a mess. Okay, other half. These are very satisfying to pull apart though. their like little seam area. And I am not in the pantry challenge yet, but I have been doing such a good job recently of using up the things that have been in my fridge or pantry for a while, and this is one of them. I'm just super happy about that, even though it's not technically the challenge. Okay. And I'm putting these, what is this, point side down. Anytime I do stuff with these type of shape, this type of shape, these shape, that's kind of funny, I always do point down. Just because otherwise the point like flies up and the point burns, and we don't want that. Okay, so far so good. We'll add some cheese to the top. Here's how they're looking. All right, last step is to put this mixture over the top, and I think we have it. Give it a final mix. And into the oven, these will go for probably about half an hour, maybe a little longer. We'll see, it's hard to know with that oven, so we'll see them when we see them. Here's what this looks like after exactly the amount of time we put on it. I think it needs a little bit more time because the inside here still is a little bit goopy. But I think I need to cover it with a little bit of foil to do that. After just 5 more minutes, this looks so much better because the inside does not look runny. So we need to let this sit for a little bit and then we can give it a try. All right, let's give this a try. This looks so good. I have very high hopes for this. Now I kind of threw some ingredients in that weren't called for, but here's to hoping that this is delicious. Well, I think I should make sure to go just one of these. Okay, that came out very nicely. Oh, look. All right. Okay, so the sausage is definitely back here. So if I want to have it with a bite of sausage, I need to get from back there and then a little bit up here. Goodness. Let's see how this is. I think it's soggier than I would like it to be. I wonder if like just the bread piece is like that. Or it's mostly egg. Flavors are a little overpowering. I think I overdid it a little bit on the mustard. I think a lot less mustard, just like a small smear. And then, well, let's see. Thing is getting torn apart. Now that bite was really good. I think the first bite I got was just a little bit more of a soggier part, because once I got around to the side where it's not so soggy and mixed that all together, it's actually very delicious. So maybe first bite was just not the best bite. Like, don't judge a book by its cover. Second bite was absolutely delicious. Okay, I feel like we need a tiebreaker bite. That's actually so good. I was wondering, so I was like, I was imagining this was gonna be so good. I think the first bite just happened to be soggy and like a big dollop of mustard. I think that's all that happened. This is actually delicious. The onion jam gives it just the right amount of sweetness and balances so well with everything. I would still smear the mustard on first and then put your dollop of onion jam though. That way you don't have too much mustard in one bite. And then perhaps put less milk in. I put about 2/3 cup to 4 eggs. And recipes like this that you bake always call for so much liquid, and I always find them to just be soggy. So maybe reduce that to just like 2 tablespoons per egg, which would give us, what would that be? So if that's 4 eggs, that would only be 1/4 of a cup. That's what I think I would do if I did this again. Or maybe like between 1/4 and 1/2, but not 2/3 of a cup. But I actually really like this, and now it's a complete mess. I'm gonna go sit and eat this because this is so good. I'm glad that I took another bite, because that first bite I was like, what is going on? But I think that was just a fluke. All right, on to the next recipe. All right, what is this called? All right, breakfast casserole number 3, and this is going to be a biscuits and gravy casserole. So I have a pound of sausage out, and I am actually not cutting this recipe in half. And the reason for that is it called for a package of biscuits, and I have 1 package of biscuits left because this came as a 2-pack. These are crescent rolls, but they'll work just fine. And turn this on. And I didn't want to use half of this, so we're gonna make the whole thing. So I'm gonna kind of do some double duty, and we are going to make 2 things at once. I'm also going to make up some gravy, so we need some water, and that's 2 cups of water. And I have this gravy. It is Orrington Farms Country Gravy Mix, and I love this gravy. The reason that I bought this, it took me a long time, I tried to find this, was because I was gluten-free, and this is a gluten-free gravy mix. So that is super helpful for anyone who is gluten-free. However, the rolls, of course, are not gluten-free. I need to grab some more of this. And so I would do this over, like, what would I do? I think sometimes I did gluten-free bread. Sometimes I did this over like hash browns and eggs and made like a whole thing. Let me grab some more. Before I get that in there, I want to break this up a little bit. And this is some homemade sausage. I just took a pork butt, I believe, and I ground it up. I cubed it up first, got the fat off, ground it up, and then I added a bunch of spices to it. And I think I want to try a bunch of different spice combinations soon, because there's one spice in here that I don't love, and I've done quite a few different breakfast sausage spices, and I had them all labeled, but it was over months that I was trying them, and I just kind of lost track. Okay, so let's get this, filling this up. Probably good enough. Clean as you go. I'm gonna wait to do the gravy until I'm totally ready for it. It doesn't take very long, and you need to keep stirring it. So I want to just make sure that I have my attention on it. While we're waiting for the sausage to cook, let's get the eggs cracked. You're going to crack 6 eggs and then add maybe about 1/2 cup of water to it. You could use milk or heavy cream. This is a tiny egg. Oh my goodness. Okay, there we go. I got a little bit of water added in there. I'm also going to add some salt and pepper. And then we mix them up. And I think I'm just going to use a fork. Alright, I've got the heat off on that. The residual heat will just cook up the remaining little bits. But this is also going in the oven. I'm going to have to move it over here and hope that it gets a little quieter. Because that was loud. Oh wait. Let's mix this up. All right. Now we can get this thing sprayed. Let's get the coffee out of the way so we don't spray the coffee. Full casserole pan. Who are we? We need to open this. Can I just do it here? There we go. These are the crescent rolls, which I think is going to be just fine. There we go. So let's see here. I think I'm just going to take little bits and throw them in because it said little chunks of whatever other dough we had, but this is the dough we're working with. I think this will be the way to go. Next up is the full pound of sausage going on. And let's get this going. I think I'm going to use this big burner just because it's right here. We'll just put it on a lower heat and grab a whisk. And this won't take long at all. And I'm gonna say we're good. This can still get a little bit thicker, but it'll do that on the casserole dish. So let's see, we'll pour this over. I'm going to move some of this over here. Okay. Spread everything out a little bit. Add some cheese. Push those down. This would be good just like this, but I am going to top it with some eggs. Make it be a whole breakfast in one. Okay. Egg mixture going over the top. And then into the oven for about 30 to 45 minutes at 350 degrees. This just came out of the oven. It took quite a while longer than it said it would, but it looks delicious. So I'm going to let this cool for a little bit and then we will dig in and try it. All right, this has actually been cooling down long enough that I can touch the pan. I was in the middle of making candy, so I wanted to do that first. Let's see if we can get a piece out of here. Oh yeah, that'll come out nicely. Beautiful. Looks delicious. All the gravy in there. Okay, let's give this a try. See if it might be kind of cold. Hot, It's still hot. Oh, hot. Delicious, but hot. I think I would almost have more bread. Maybe I used different rolls than they were thinking, because that was like a big bite of, what do you call that? Gravy. This looks so good. Okay, I'm very hungry. It's 11 o'clock. I haven't even eaten breakfast yet. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're new here and you haven't yet, please subscribe. I'd love to see you. If you're interested in seeing some other casseroles, I will pop some up here, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.